Welcome to Enough Said, where we talk about the basic principles, practices, and values of good common sense, the foundation of all good logic, which you have to develop or you ain't got it. With good common sense, you can save your life first. You can develop some wisdom in it through practice and experience. You can pass it down to your kids, or at least attempt to. If they can grasp it and practice it, they can become addicted to using good common sense in whatever they do. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So today I'm going to continue reading the Constitution because it has been a struggle just getting this done. There's been so many random things happening. Oh my gosh. Speaking of random things happening. Once again, before I can actually get to doing something, I'm going to have to check out what's going on now because my audience is always sending me stuff to go, look at this now, Anthony, look at this now. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll look at it now. It's fine. It's not your fault, Owen. You just want my reaction to stuff, and that's kind of like the whole game on Twitch. Let's see my reaction to this one.
Frustrated with GA4? You're not alone. Google didn't do it for you. They did it for the money.
And the
we
ad
get
revenue. Don't forget the ad revenue.
The far right is getting stronger in Germany, and the far right party, AfD, is becoming more and more radical. Germany's domestic intelligence service has warned.
Und wenn wir dereinst dieses Land regieren werden, dann verspreche ich der fragwürdigen Sippschaft da hinten, dann brechen für euch andere Zeiten an.
With their anti-refugee, anti-LGBTQ...
That is as angry a German as I've heard angry Germans be for a long time. I don't know if there's anything that scares the world more than angry yelling Germans at this point, ever since the 20th century. They could be yelling about something that makes complete sense, and it's still gonna make everyone nervous. We need to stop shitting in our underwear. It is unacceptable. The stains won't come out. And everyone won't understand German because if they don't speak it, they don't know. And it's still gonna make everyone on edge. That said, what this guy's yelling about is bad. So I'm gonna go back and read it. If we rule this country, is what he said. I promise you, this rabble behind me, and I'm going to turn on my mic so that way it doesn't create this echo. So bear with me.
Dann verspreche ich der fragwürdigen Sippschaft da hinten, dann brechen für euch andere Zeiten.
He said, this rabble behind me, it will be a new day for you. And he said that in a very threatening tone. So this is this is what a lot of people are considering the new neo-Nazi party. It's called the German AfD. Yes, it's in Germany. Otherwise, why are they shouting in German? But yeah. Yeah, it's like, if you do one thing in one place where you're the leader of the world or the biggest player in the world, USA. Other countries start thinking it's okay. It's like influence is a powerful force in evolution. Look at that. Look at all the scientific studies of that. Or just buy a plant and do your own scientific study. Buy a plant, water it, give it everything it needs, then yell at it, tell it bad things all the time, and see if it grows good. Then take another plant in another room and tell it only good, kind, nice things. And tell me which plant grows better. Because they've run many scientific studies like this, and not just with plants. They've done it with mice. Uh, Back in the day, a lot of government programs did this with people. It had bad psychological effects. Because, yeah, sound, it's a very powerful influence on evolution. And life evolves.
With their anti-refugee, anti-LGBTQ and anti-government politics, the Alternative for Germany party is...
All right, just before we continue, my greatest Norwegian not mob. You're not the mafia. No, my greatest Norwegian mod. He moderates the chat. He says that the guy who was talking, who was yelling all that stuff in German, his philosophy is so close to Nazi, it's scary. And if you compare the NFD, like I had recently over the weekend, because I was curious about it, so I looked it up in my own free time. Someone brought it up last week. I was just too busy reading the Constitution, or trying to. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of the same early signs that the Nazi party had. They aren't doing all the same actions, though. But there's a lot of the same signs. I would definitely say it's more extreme than MAGA. So, like, if you thought MAGA was kind of like, this is kind of red flags, it's more extreme. And it's happening in Germany. Isn't that where a lot of these world wars come from? Problems in Prussia or then Germany.
Politics. The Alternative for Germany party is at an all-time high in the opinion polls. The AfD accuses its political opponents of having betrayed Germany, and one of the party's stars,
That right there is somewhat of a red flag. The Nazi party, especially Hitler himself, felt extremely betrayed by the other party, that they had betrayed the entire nation by choosing world peace over their country dominating the world. And the AfD also feels like the opposing party is betraying Germany. So that's a similarity right there. Oh, Owen says, if I walk into the headquarters dressed up as Hitler, they could be a leader. Okay, your English is broken, but I get what you mean. Yeah, the AfD is definitely something to keep our eyes on. Yeah, if MAGA made you nervous, this is an even more extreme version of it in Germany. Right now. Also for a little bit now.
Björn Höcke, presents himself as Germany's savior.
Die deutsche Nation nicht verhandeln.
Okay, the first thing he just said there was that Germany is non-negotiable.
Der Osten steht auf. Holen wir.
Next, he says the East is standing up for itself. We have to take our country back. Well, the Nazis definitely took their country back. So this is bonjour. Hoki, or however you say this. He's part of the AfD. He's the guy shouting this in German.
Wir uns unser Land zurück. Ich danke euch.
The AfD could even
And just like the Nazi rallies, he's getting crowds and crowds of people cheering and shouting. Oh, Owen says that he's using his speech to text on his phone and it's so bad. Yes, I use that all the time. That's the reason why that one typo happened. Where like I said a sentence and then it rephrased it as a question, like I was questioning you or something when I was just trying to say something to you. And then I had to, sort all that nonsense out. Yeah, voice to text, especially on your phone, it is just not very accurate. Especially if you try to sing something. Oh, it's gonna get it completely wrong. Notice that. It's not sing to text for sure. Moving on. Back to the AfD.
become the strongest political party in much of Eastern Germany. Regional elections in several German states are set for 2024 and the AfD is leading polls. The other parties, as well as experts on right-wing politics, are sounding the alarm about the AfD's rise. Some have even termed it a neo-Nazi party. How much truth is there to the accusation that the AfD is not just a right-wing extremist party, but crosses the line into neo-Nazism? In Germany, the term Nazi is taken extremely seriously. The Nazis under Adolf Hitler were responsible for the Second World War and the murder of millions of Jews and people of other minorities. That's why all fascist and
some of those minorities were also just POWs that were captured and put into internment camps. Some of them were also like my Norwegian mod here, who's part Sami, like his grandmother, who was Sami. She was put into the POW camps because the Samis were being oppressed. Yeah, the Nazis killed a bunch of them too. So yeah, they didn't just kill Jewish people. They killed a majority of them were Jewish people. But it wasn't just Jewish people. Okay. Owen says, I think I have walked into FSD headquarters, Nazi salute. I think everybody's gonna get back to me. Okay, it's hard for me to understand because you're broken English and possibly because of the voice to text, bro. So I only got kinda what you said. I'm not gonna lie. I would say copy your message and then paste it in the message thing and then edit it and then send me that one. And I'll reread that one. But I think I get the gist of what you're saying, but just to clarify, yeah, it would help if you did that. Appreciate it.
Nazi parties were banned in Germany after the Nazis' defeat, which ended World War II. The AfD has rejected allegations that it is a neo-Nazi party, claiming that now anyone in Germany who is against the government or against immigration is called a Nazi.
So if I do not find somebody soon, I'll blow up.
When people talk about the AfD in connection with National Socialism, they are often referring to Björn Höcke. He's the parliamentary group leader in the Thuringian State Parliament and likely the AfD's most influential politician. And one of its
I completely understand, bro. Like, it must be so frustrating. I get very frustrated with it too. Alright, this is just a test to see if this mutes it when I tap that. It doesn't. All right, I think that did mute it. All right, cool. Now I don't have to just turn down the thing every time and turn it back up. I can just hit this button. All right, cool. We're going to continue.
Its most radical. In 2010, he took an active part in a demonstration organized by neo-Nazis and recorded on camera.
All right, so in their demonstration, they're all standing around yelling, "We want to march, we want to march." So I'm like, okay, march for what? Like where? To what? What are you gonna do when you get there? These are my questions. Because I mean, like, marching isn't bad necessarily. Martin Luther King had a march, and that was fine. He was marching his people to freedom, out of segregation, past racism, using equality. That was cool. I don't know if these guys are gonna do a good march. I don't know what kind of march they're doing. But I think they would help themselves a lot more if they were as specific as possible. Because if they're trying to do something that isn't bad, it would help to clarify what they're doing. If what they're doing is bad, then maybe that's why they're not being very specific. Maybe, but we'll check.
It is legal to call Björn Höcke a Nazi in Germany. Courts have...
Okay, Owen said, if I go to Alternative for Deutschland, which is the AfD, and give a Nazi salute, how many give back the Nazi salute? I don't know, because I've never been. I don't know. I haven't seen anything where, so far when I've seen the marching, I haven't seen anyone doing Nazi salutes yet. That doesn't confirm or deny that they do or don't do that. I haven't seen it yet though. So until I see it, I don't know, bro. But this alternative for Deutschland, they are giving a lot of signs, that's for sure. It's a Nazi joke. I know it's a Nazi joke, bro. That's why I'm playing on it and be like, oh, I'm gonna take the joke seriously, because that's my joke to the joke. Because that's my whole thing. My strength and my weakness is that I take things too seriously. My strength and my weakness is both. Moving on.
Rule that this is not an insult, but a statement covered under freedom of expression and a, quote, value judgment based on facts. Höcke is a history teacher and thus has studied German history. He frequently refers to Germany's Nazi past, and he rejects the official culture of remembrance of the Nazis' mass murders, the Holocaust, and the crimes of the German people.
Okay, so this guy is a Nazi history denier, is what I'm getting out of that. So that's a very interesting way to study German history. I can see why a lot of this is coming out now. They're like, no, the Nazis weren't bad. Yeah, I mean, if you start your argument with that, I don't think it's going to go anywhere good. So I can see why a lot of people are being nervous about this AfD group, because, yeah, when they start their arguments with that, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a very good argument. But it does sound like a very dangerous argument. So yeah, thanks for trying to tell me this all last week, Owen. I was too busy trying to read the Constitution. But you know what? I'm glad I took a second to say, you know what? Owen's been trying to get me to see this for all last week. Maybe I should look at this before I just read the Constitution again. And you know what? I think you might have been right, Owen. I probably should have seen this last week.
Bewältigungspolitik, die lähmt uns heute noch viel mehr als zu Franz Josef Strauß Zeiten. Wir brauchen nichts anderes.
Okay. He wants to do a 180-degree turn on the politics of remembrance in regards to the Nazi Party. So he wants to take the current political remembrance of it, and he wants a 180-degree turn. And people are standing up in the crowd and clapping for this. This is exactly why I try to go over the basic principles, practices, and values of the foundation of good logic, which is good common sense, which you have to develop or you don't have it. I don't know if anyone standing up in that room has it. Yeah, this is bad. And this is January 2023. And it's still escalating? This is bad. Okay, Owen says probably most of them probably have... Okay, I'm not going to say that, dude. And that's why they're so serious. Funny. Why so serious? And then they're like, bzzz. No, bro, I don't think it's that. I think it's a lack of common sense. I think that's an issue in this room. So, yeah, I guess we'll continue on.
Als eine erinnerungspolitische Wende 180 Grad.
A 180-degree turn. This would mean that the Nazi era is no longer portrayed as criminal, but rather that it is glorified. Höcke has also on many occasions used historically loaded terms. A court indicted him earlier this year for using the slogan of the Nazi Party's infamous SR Storm Division at a campaign event 2 years earlier. The slogan, "Everything for Germany." The court case is still pending. Why does Höcke position himself so radically when he knows that he will probably face strong repercussions? Right-wing extremism expert Matthias Quent has been studying Höcke and the AfD for years.
Der Zweck ist die Normalisierung von national.
Wait, you still can't log into your Discord? Why not? Like, I don't know, you might have to make another email and make another one, man. If that's what happened, I don't know. Did you forget your password? Can you recover it? Like reset it or something? Are you banned? Because, like, I didn't report you. I don't think the other guy reported you. He seemed pretty chill. I didn't get banned. And it's my server. I would assume, like, if anyone would get banned for that, like, I would have been banned. Well, if it doesn't work, bro, just reset it and just go to your email and make your new password and because like we miss you on the Discord. You were missed. But yeah, I'm gonna continue on with this AfD video. Here, this guy says, and he's Matthias Quint, a far-right extremist expert. So he's an expert on understanding these extremist kind of people. So to him, he said the point is to normalize National Socialist historical references, which also, and then we'll continue on.
Sozialistischen historischen Bezügen und damit auch Ideologieelementen. Es ist
Which
eine
also helps
Äußerung, mit der
normalize
sich
the
sicher sein
ideology.
kann, dass
He can be
öffentlich
sure that
Anstöße
these
provoziert
statements.
und Gegenwehr
Hold on,
erregt.
he's going a little fast. He can also be sure these statements will cause
Mit der sich sicher sein kann, dass öffentlich anstößt, provoziert und Gegenwehr erregt.
Offense and provoke opposition, so he gets attention again. Yeah. It's pretty much like the entertainer's playbook. To an entertainer, bad press is still good press because it still gets them attention. See, it's not about being correct. It's not like being a scientist where you only get good attention from the scientific community when you're doing something that is groundbreaking but like has some facts behind it, or you're being laughed at because you're being mocked in the scientific community. So it's like the difference between like Einstein, Tesla, and like that ancient aliens guy. One of them is getting mocked. The rest actually have actual evidence to their theories, and usually mathematical formulas and genuine evidence. But it doesn't work that way in the entertainment business. In the entertainment business, bad press is still good press. Good press is good press. But it doesn't get you as much attention as bad press. That's why Donald Trump was able to win 2 out of 3 elections that he ran, because like he ran off of using a lot of bad press, which he was like, all right, to anyone that says it's good press, cool, you're on my team. And anyone that says it's bad press, cool, you're helping my team. Because the general public in America doesn't have bachelor's degrees. Only 35% of the entire American public gets bachelor degrees. The rest, they turn on TV to be entertained. So when they have someone on there that's entertaining to them, they don't care if they're right or wrong. They care that the entertainment continues. And that's how he got the majority vote. The the college, the electoral college, the majority in the Senate, and the majority in the House of Representatives. Because most people in the general public just want to turn on the TV to be entertained. And he's an entertainer, so he knows exactly how to feed into that. That's why he won. He didn't win in 2020 because they weren't entertained by it. They were too busy dealing with the fact that there was a pandemic. And they wanted someone that would seriously deal with it. So they hired someone else that they thought would deal with it more seriously, not just give them entertainment. But now that the pandemic was over, they want to go back to entertainment again. So then they hired another entertainer. Like, it's that simple to me. It makes the most sense to me. Because, yeah. Most people just turn on the TV because they want to be entertained. Most people don't turn on the TV in this country to learn or think critically. So, yeah, I think what happened in 2016 and then what happened last year kind of proves that the general public wants to turn on the TV to be entertained, and whoever does that for them the most will win their vote. Because, yeah. All right. Back to what Owen said. Every time I try and come up, Safari cannot open the page because the server could not be found. Like um, my server can't be found, or like the server that has Discord. And then Grand Designs Enjoy says hi. And then they give me some rumble.com link. Charisma of Adolf Hitler documentary full. Does this have to do Grand Designs Enjoy? Does that have to do with the AfD? Because we're going over what the AfD is doing. Because frankly, like, I'm not worried about the Nazi Party anymore. That ended after World War II. And now we have nuclear arms. We can't go to direct war with other major countries for obvious reasons. It's pretty obvious. So now I'm just worried about the next season, you know. The one that's like this, almost the same thing, but it's a different rhyme, a different reason, and a different trick to get people in the cult. Because if they use the same exact thing, it won't work. But if they use a different rhyme with a different reason, with a different trick, people often forget the lessons they just learned. That's the thing about humans. So yeah, I'm going to continue the video. You can let me know if that link has anything to do with the AfD. Because, like, I think everyone in the general audience in the year 2025 knows, unless you're like Kanye West or something, that, you know, Hitler is bad. World War II bad. Duh. That's not the point. The point is, what is the AfD doing now? And how has it gotten to this point? Because, yeah, this could be the new rhyme, the new reason, the new trick. And this is something to keep an eye out on.
Somit hat er wieder Empörung, Aufmerksamkeit und kann dann einerseits sagen, aber ich wollte doch nur sagen, alles Gute für Deutsch.
So for everyone that's just listening and doesn't speak German, the offense and provoke opposition, so he gets attention again, and then he says, I only wanted good things for Germany, which is obviously a ruse, so he can style himself as a victim. See, it's someone playing the victim mentality. These people are always dangerous. They pretend they're a victim of something, so that way they can get other people to attack other people that didn't actually make them a victim of something. This is called using an angry mob to get what you want. Using a victim mentality. It's very common practice in modern times, especially in politics. Yeah. So yeah, as this guy was saying, because he's an expert on these far-right extremist groups, so he knows exactly what the game is that they're playing, and he's explaining how the mechanics work so people can know how to deal with the people and what game they're playing. Because otherwise, if you don't deal with it, you fall to the ignorance of it, and then, you know, whatever happens, and you lost your chance to ever do anything about it. Now it's going to be out of the realm of prevention, and because of escalation. So now it's a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem than when it's in the domain of prevention. The only way to stop something in prevention is to be prepared. So, like, that's the whole reason why he's telling you about the game and the mechanics, so that way you could be prepared. That's the point. So yeah, if we miss the point of this, if we don't grasp what is necessary, if we don't put into action before it's too late, um, things will continue to escalate, and it will eventually become a problem that goes beyond the bounds of prevention. Now you can't stop it in prevention; it's already broken the walls. Now it's a bigger problem than that. Now it's harder to deal with. That's just how it works. They're just fundamental, truths of reality. These are fundamental concepts. Okay. I did it. Am logged on now. Awesome. Awesome. Good, because I want you back on the Discord server, bro. It's just been me and the other guy for a bit, and yeah, I like mixing it up. So yeah, feel free to only took me 11 years. Well, you know what? At least you can drink at a bar now. So cheers to that, mate. Grand Designs Enjoyer. We have different perspectives on how to deal with the truths and reality, but I have no problem inviting you to the Discord as long as you are staying on topic. If you're gonna keep going off topic and stuff and keep pushing whatever you want everyone else to talk about, it's not gonna work out. You have to go with the flow of the conversation and add to it, but not try to control it. See, the person that hosts can control the situation because they're hosting it. If you're a guest, you have to respect the boundary of you being a guest. Like Owen does. He said, "I control your mom last night." And that is why he gets points. You are allowed to do criticism, you're allowed to do sick burns. It's totally fine. That's not an issue. Just don't try to control other people. That's weird. So yeah, points Gryffindor.
Und rechtsextremen Anhängern
My bad. I'm
eine
typing on my
Bestätigung,
laptop
eine
instead of on the
ideologische
keyboard. My
Rechtfertigung
bad.
geliefert.
Björn
Bloop. Malfunction. Here we go. There we go. How do your PC setup look like? Here I can show you real quick. I don't do secrets or anything like that. That's for insecurities. I just do privacy because that's a necessity. Privacy is a strength. Alright, so here's my two monitors and my camera for my PC and stuff. My brother has a bunch of these amiibos, I guess is what they're called. They're like Nintendo products or something. He's into collecting this kind of stuff. I don't know why. Maybe he's gonna sell them. I don't know what the deal is. But that's his stuff. My stuff is just all the computer stuff. I got my PC over there. Okay, what the fuck are you talking about? I sent you a link that doesn't have anything to do with an attempt at controlling you. No, it's not about control. It's about controlling like the conversation. Look, I don't want random links to whatever you want to talk about. It's got to be relevant to what's already being talked about on stream, okay? We're talking about the AfD. You sent me something about, let's see, BBC, The Dark Charisma of Adolf Hitler documentary full. I don't want to watch a full documentary on my stream, dude. I want to watch this one video, give my reaction to it, and go back to reading the Constitution. And it's my stream. I can control what I do on my stream, dude. I'm sorry. If you want to watch your documentary, then go on your stream and just do that. But stop trying to control my stream, man. Or whatever you are. Because you say you have no gender or something. And you won't tell me your orientation or your biological sex for some reason, but you'll tell me you have no gender. It's an interesting tactic to live your life with honesty, I guess. And that's fine. If that's how you want to live your life, whatever. But don't come on my stream and try to control what I'm talking about or what I'm gonna stream. It's my stream. You can stream if you want. You can watch the full documentary on Hitler on your stream if you want. I'm not worried about it. You know why? World War II ended a long time ago. I'm worried about the new rhyme, the new reason, the new trick. Which the AfD is the modern day thing. That could be a problem. Hitler is not a person that can be a problem anymore. Unless he did die in Germany. Which we were very stupid to have burnt his body instead of checked to make sure that was actually him and not a body double. Because if Castro could do it, why couldn't Hitler? To me, that's duh. Duh. So, yeah, I wish they didn't just grab his body and throw it in a burning thing, which is what they claim they did. I don't know if that's what they actually did. Who knows? All we know is there's no way to check if that body is actually Hitler. And that's lame. That is so lame. What a lame way to end the war. Great. Now we just gotta wonder for the rest of the time. Or accept narratives without checking. That's my least favorite thing to do. Alright. Owen Carter says, fuck Nintendo, they only care about money. Damn right. I mean, look how many amiibos they sold my brother. Yeah, they only care about money. That's not anything new. Why do you think they target children? Because eventually they grow up and then they have even more money to spend on Nintendo products. Look at my brother. He spent only more money on Nintendo products. They knew exactly what they were doing. That's how the game is played. That's how the game has always been played. And that won't change. Even if Nintendo wasn't around, someone else would just be playing the game too. You gotta accept what's in your control and what's outside of your control. Otherwise, all the games will just drive you insane. All you have is control over the person you can wiggle your fingers and toes over. Yeah, you only control you. The rest is just giving influence. That's all you can do. You can control yourself. You can give influence to anything else. That's it. That's the reality of being a life form. Nintendo games, how going down the toilet last year. I don't know, man. That Mario Kart Worlds thing, that looks pretty bomb. And they knew it was bomb. That's why they knew they could do the price hike with it. And you know what's crazy? They're correct, because the Nintendo fans, they will buy it. How do I know? My brother was in line to pre-order it. He sent me a picture talking about, I'm in line to pre-order. I'm the first one. Because this is how Nintendo, they get you when you're a kid. So that way they got you for life. Luckily, I was more of a fan of Microsoft and PlayStation. So Nintendo couldn't hold me like that. Though I still appreciate Nintendo products. Like, I still think The Legend of Zelda was a great series. I think it still is. I haven't played the new ones, but I've seen people play them. It still looks really good. If I had time to do that kind of stuff in my life as an adult, I'd be doing it. I don't have the time. I don't care to make the time for it. because it's just not that important to me. And frankly, I like Dark Souls games and Halo and Legendary and stuff that's more difficult that my brother doesn't like at all because it's difficult. And I love achieving stuff that's difficult. It's exhilarating to me. You tell me I have to pay fully attention, I got to figure out exactly the correct answer and the right timing to do it or I fail? Hell yeah, I love it. Fuck yeah, I get to push the boulder up, and then when I get to the top of the hill, it rolls back down, and I smile, and I go right back down there, I push it up again, because to me it ain't pointless, it makes me stronger. I love it. It's a privilege just to push the boulder. It's a privilege just to breathe and be alive. I love it. One day I'll have to let this go. So I love the whole ride. Have you played Wolfenstein? I need to play Wolfenstein because the first relaunch of Wolfenstein, oh my gosh, it looks so badass. I gotta play it at some point. It's on my list, but I can only play it on stream. That's my new rule with video games. I can play video games still, but only 6 hours a week, and only if I can potentially make money off of it by posting on stream. Otherwise, I don't play. I don't play in my free time anymore. Because I don't see the point. But if I record 6 hours of it and post 3 hours each day of the weekend and have it set to automation so I can still have my weekend for free, then I can make internet money and play my video games I really want without it ruining my adult life. So to me, that's worth it. Why just be entertained when you can just produce experience and share that? That's even better. That's even more fun. And it's harder. I love that. Yeah. In Wolfenstein, you kill Nazis. Exactly, yeah. Killing Nazis is fun in Wolfenstein. Yeah, because it's World War II time. Yeah, it's a good game. And it's very graphic. You get to see all the guts coming off. You shoot their jaw. You see the jawbones break off into pieces. Punch him to death. Like, oh my gosh. It is such a good game. I gotta play it. And I'm gonna play it on stream for the weekends, but you're gonna watch me pre-recorded playing it. You're gonna get my pre-recorded experience, deal with it. I'm gonna check the box that says it's a pre-recording. Because they make you check a box on Twitch if you stream a pre-recording. This isn't a pre-recording. This is live because I'm reacting to your live messages. And the pre-recording stuff, I'm only going to be replying in chat. That's all you'll get. And on the Discord, you can chat with me. That's all you get though. On the weekends, because that's called enough gaming on the weekends. This is enough said. So, moving on with all of that, we're going to get back into what the AfD is doing. Because these are what people are saying is the new neo-Nazi party in Germany right now. And they are not the Nazi party. They're a new party with a new rhyme, a new reason, and a new trick. So we need to check and see what the new rhyme is, what the new reason is, and what the trick is that they're using to get people to be in the cult. Otherwise, we as real honest people can't deal with it. We don't understand it. We're going to be playing a guessing game fighting this thing. We don't want to guess. We want to know and act accordingly. We want to respond to what the situation is. So we have to understand what the situation is in order to have the correct response to it. That's how it works. Here. You see this on deal with it? This is the concept of deal with it, by the way. You see that on the corner over there? It says response. It's the independent variable over situation. If you don't understand the situation clearly, you won't respond accordingly. I don't know if you can see this that well, but it's there. And like that line says next to it, it's a choice. So, what's the trick? What's the rhyme? What's the reason behind it? And now tell us the whole situation. Then we can figure out a correct response to deal with it.
Der kann sich also als Opfer stilisieren, unbeidig zu sein, neonazistischen Anhängern und rechtsextremen Anhängern eine Bestätigung, eine ideologische Rechtfertigung.
I gotta say a lot of this in English in case people are listening and not watching, so that way they can know what's happening when they don't speak German. But before I do that, I'm gonna read what Owen just typed in the chat. I don't want what happened in Fallstadt concentration camp again. Yeah, I understand that because your grandmother was sent there. That was a Nazi internment camp for anyone that doesn't know what Fallstadt is. His grandmother was there. She survived. So yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, Nolan. I wouldn't want that to happen to anyone ever again either. All right. So this guy, what he's saying is the offense and provoke opposition so he can get attention again. And what he's doing is talking about this AfD group. And he's explaining the game they're playing. And then he says, I only wanted good things for Germany. So he's pushing that narrative. So he can style himself as a victim while providing affirmation to his right-wing extremist supporters. So that's the game they're playing. Play victim, blame other people, and use that affirmation to get them to want to march to whatever vague conclusion they want. Because they want to keep it vague so people can't specifically call them out on what they're doing. Because they didn't specifically say that, and they can use that to shield themselves from opposition effectively. Because as much as the other side says, no, this is enough proof, until it is enough proof for everyone to accept it, it's not enough proof. It's frustrating, but it's the reality. You need enough evidence or you don't have it. The way I put it is this. Life is an investigation and you have to build your case. If you don't have a solid case, it's not going to make it through. It's not going to pass. It's not going to get you to win. All right. Owen also said, I think the party is a stupid idiot with small down there. We need. Okay, bro. Look, it's easy to throw insults at people. What we need to do is call out unjustified behavior. We need injustice. We need to call out injustice specifically because justice means just behavior and treatment. So we need to call out when people are doing things that are unjust behavior and treatment of other people. We need to call out injustice, not just throw insults at them. That doesn't help. That just gives them bad press. And if they're into entertaining, that's going to help their team. It's not going to stop them. It's going to help them. So you need to not use insults. It won't help you win this. What you need is facts. Facts of injustice. Undeniable facts of injustice. Not just insults. Insults won't work against entertainers. they thrive off of people using insults and getting emotional off of it, because that affirms to the other team that they think they're winning because the other team is upset. So they use that to think that they're winning. It's the traditional on the internet, you mad bro? You mad bro? Ha ha ha, you mad bro? I'm winning cuz you mad. That's why you got to not fall for that game, bro. Cuz otherwise they'll win off of it.
Geliefert.
Björn Höcke's actions have put the Alternative for Germany party as a whole under close monitoring by Germany's security.
My bad. Is it on now? Okay, now it's on. Okay, what I was saying, my bad. I didn't realize it was still muted. Lol. Anyways, if you look at the bottom of the screen, like down here, down there, where it says dropped frames, there's 0 dropped frames. Next to it is my connection and how much kilobytes per second is getting uploaded. So it's not me. My Wi-Fi. Yeah, it has to be either your Wi-Fi or potentially Twitch servers. Sometimes Twitch servers get flooded. It's one of the two, because it ain't me, bro. It says right there. All right, moving on.
Security authorities.
Dave's field communications are all over the place. Connect Team's team management app puts it all in one place. While
the Domestic Intelligence Service says
eine Bestätigung
monitoring by Germany's security authority as a whole under close have put the Alternative for
logische Rechtfertigung geliefert.
Björn Höcke's actions have put the Alternative for Germany party as a whole under close monitoring by Germany's security authorities. The Domestic Intelligence Service says it has sufficient grounds to suspect that the party is unconstitutional. Intelligence Agency head Thomas Haldenwang says the AfD...
Okay, so according to the German Constitution, which I've never read, according to their constitution, what the AfD is doing can be considered unconstitutional. So my guess is that they're trying to build a case for that, but they need enough specific evidence first. And that is where the problem can be. If they keep using vague rhetoric in the AfD, it could be their shield from this case, potentially. Because unless they specifically say where they're marching to, what they're going to do, and all this, saying we want to march is not probably unconstitutional. I haven't read their constitution, but that's my guess. And that's the thing with vague rhetoric. It's hard to prosecute vague rhetoric. Specific rhetoric is way more easy to, prosecute. So, like, if someone in modern times had the same exact speech as, like, Hitler talking about what he wants to do to the Jewish people and how he wants to get rid of them, that's very easy to prosecute. Compared to what they're saying in the AfD, there's some things that are alarming, but it's hard to prosecute off of that. And that's the issue. Like, until it's prosecutable, until they have a solid case where they know they can win, they're not going to pursue it yet. They're not going to pursue it until they know they can win, and then they're going to pursue it with the full extent of German law, basically. Okay. I really fucking hate this Wi-Fi in my school. Terrible Wi. Oh, you're at university right now. That is why, bro. That is why. I'll tell you what. This episode specifically, I will post on YouTube tonight. I'm not very good at doing this, but I will get this done tonight. So you can get the link. I'll send it to you on Discord. You can watch the full video if this is too laggy for you in Norway. But that's the best I can do. I'm gonna move on, bro.
Is a danger to democracy due to its anti-Islamic and radicalized elements.
Wir sehr viel an Hass und Hetze gegenüber Minderheiten aller Art.
The AfD has repeatedly denied these accusations, but they go well beyond Björn Höcke. Former Bundestag member Siegbert Djose has also come under suspicion. In his election campaign for the AfD, he used a vehicle with a custom license plate, LAH 1818. The L stands for the city of Leipzig, and AH and the number 18 are well-known codes referring among neo-Nazis. AH stands for Adolf Hitler. 1 and 8 stand for the first and 8th letters of the alphabet, A and H. So the license plate presents a coded version of Adolf Hitler 3 times. Djose has also visited the Wolf's Lair, one of Adolf Hitler's headquarters during World War II. He's confirmed the authenticity of this photo. Here, Djose can be seen posing with his hand on his heart in front of Hitlers bunker.
Wir sind stärker denn je und werden unseren Weg.
Okay. So this guy is a huge red flag for many obvious reasons. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just go over just what he's saying. All right, so he's saying we are stronger than ever and will follow the path of power to the end. So this is a bad sign.
Zur Macht gehen bis zum Ende, weil wir die einzigste Partei sind, die hier.
He continues on, we are the only party that still represents German interests. Okay, I'll hear him out. Yeah, maybe he fixes the rest of this speech.
Und Deutschland heute noch deutsche Interessen vertritt.
Es gibt ein klares nationalsozialistisches
Why can't we just leave my people alone for once in my lifetime? Because oppression knows no bounds. That is why this keeps happening to your people, bro. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what's happening. Because, yeah, if it isn't the AfD, it's the Norwegian government. If it isn't the Norwegian government, it's American tariffs. So it's like, yeah, that's the thing about it. You know, oppression, it doesn't know bounds. Oppression owns it all in the perspective of oppression. That's how it sees it. That's why I don't like any forms of oppression, whether they're micro or macro. Anyone that wants to take control beyond just themselves is okay with the concept of oppression. Anyone that realizes the truth that they only control themselves and they only give influence to other people and they let go of whatever nonsense tells them otherwise. Those people I like. I like real honest people. I don't like the oppressors. No matter if they take a micro or macro form. I don't like them. Because they're usually, from my experience, ignorant, hubris fools that don't learn their lessons and think they're smarter than other people. It's annoying. It's very annoying. Like, there are many correct answers to life. When should you love someone else? When they consent. If they don't consent to you loving them, you're wasting your emotions. When should you fight for peace? When it's going to affect yours. When should you defend your good work? When it's going to affect more than just your work. And other people depend on it. When should you have your good life? After you achieved peace, love, and good work. Wanting it before you've done that is naive. There are many, many correct answers. They all come from the truth. But a lot of people don't accept it and put it into action. That's most people. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that groups like these rise up because, yeah, they want to feel justified in their beliefs, even if their beliefs are absurd. So Owen says that I'm afraid you use Sammy in public. I'm afraid to use Sammy clothes in public. So yeah, you're afraid to speak your own language or wear the clothes of your culture because of what the Norwegian government will do in response, what the Norwegians will do in response, what other groups like the AfD would do in response. I mean, the American tariffs don't give a fuck about what clothes you wear or what language you use, only that you pay the tariff. That's all the American tariffs care about. That's pretty much the bounds of that oppression. But yeah, the Norwegian government, they are always down with suppressing the Samis, who are the indigenous people of Norway. They're always down with everyone only speaking Norwegian and no one speaking Sami. They don't want to see people wearing the clothes of the Sami because it reminds them about who they are and who they're oppressing. So they don't want to see that in public. They don't want to hear it in public. They don't want you to exist. And that's the reality of their oppression. The Norwegian government isn't the indigenous people of Norway. They're just the government that moved there and started governing. It is what it is. And I can tell you honestly, as an American that's over here, there is literally nothing I can do about what Norway is doing over there. I can say my piece. I can say what I know is right. But it's not going to stop their oppression, and you know it. And that's the harsh reality of our situation. But we have Sami government super submissive to the Norwegian government. Well, is there anything you can do to help strengthen it? Is there any small role you can play in it? Is there anything that you can develop yourself as a Sami to become someone that can do something about it? Even if it's in a micro stance. Is there any part that you could play? I'm going to continue with the video, but feel free to keep chatting.
Gesicht innerhalb der AfD, Leute, die sich direkt so benennen, die sich in die Tradition stellen, die die Begriffe benutzen, auch gezielt Begriffe benutzen, die nationalsozialistisch geprägt sind, teilweise Äußerungen, die dann als Einzeldarstellungen wahrgenommen oder gerechtfertigt werden. Der Punkt ist nur, dass es ja in die allgemeine politische Agenda, in die politische Rechtsaußenrichtung der AfD weist.
This agenda is primarily directed at asylum, migration, and German citizenship. The AfD is calling for a radical change in asylum and migration policy, including the deportation of millions of people from Germany. That's not all. Many of the party's top politicians have repeatedly and falsely claimed that not everyone who has a German passport is actually German.
All right, so they're going with as far as the AfD, they're going with the fake German stance. This is bad. This is another red flag. So if they're claiming there are fake Germans and they want something that only represents German interest and they want all these things and they want to take Germany back, this to me sounds like their new rhyme is empower Germans to take Germany back. From who? This is the reason part. From the fake Germans. There's the rhyme, then there's the reason. The victim mentality is the trick. So there we go. We got the new rhyme, we got the new reason, and we got the trick. See, we figured it out. We kind of understand the basis of this situation now. I wasn't just talking just to hear myself talk. I want to solve problems. So this is a real problem, by the way. So let's kind of write this out, you know. Oh, before I continue, I will read what Owen wrote. Most of the people in the Sami government, 50% not Sami people, work for the Norwegian government. Well, okay, are they genuinely representing Sami interests, or are they false flagging and representing Norwegian interests, and they're just trying to mitigate Sami government and their interests? Like, what's the situation like for the Samis over there? Because I don't know. I'm an American in America. I don't know, like animals in a zoo. Okay. Well, animals in a zoo are sectioned off based on their species and all of that. So I don't know if it's exactly like that, or if it's or if it means something else. But if 50% of them are non-Samis in the Sami government, and you claim that they work for the Norwegian government, is there any actions that they've done lately that kind of proves or hints towards that allegiance? And is there any evidence that it is hindering the progress that the Sami government wants to make? That these non-Samis that work for the Norwegian government instead of the Sami government while being in the Sami government, is there any evidence that there's foul play, basically? I think that's the simplest way to put it. Is there any evidence where they say one thing in their narrative as far as what the Sami government actually wants to do, and then actions that go against that from the Sami government, but it's coming from these non-Sami people that work for the Norwegian government in the Sami government? So is there any evidence of that? And then if you can find any, like, send me a link. Even if it's in Norwegian, I can get it translated. So back to this, what we're talking about. The rhyme, the reason, and the trick. So the rhyme is take back Germany for the German people. For the German people. That's the rhyme. The reason. Fake Germans. This is who they want to take it back from. Their trick to do this is using the victim mentality. To use mob mentalities. So, use victim mentality to generate a mob mentality. All right. So essentially, this is what we're dealing with as far as the AfD. The rhyme is take Germany back for the German people. I'm pointing down a little bit more. Might be too much. The reason for it. There we go. The reason for it is fake Germans. That's their claim. Their trick to do this is the victim mentality to generate a mob mentality. My bad, this way. And this is the basic game of the AfD in Germany right now. Game of the AfD. At least in 2025. There. Okay. Okay, so Owen says, as far as what he was talking about earlier, nope, but stop reindeer farming on a lot of our territories. Right, because your indigenous people did a lot of reindeer farming. I read about that. Okay, I need to go to sleep. It's 1 in the morning. All right, yeah, go to sleep, Owen. It was good having you on here. I'm sorry that my streams are going so late. I usually try to have them more early, but I had to help out my family. It's the cost of being reliable. People depend on you. Give Grandma a hug for me. I will give her a hug for you. I'm gonna go see if she's available now. I'll go give her a hug. Goodbye, Owen. Thanks for letting me know about the AfD and why I should have paid attention to it. I should have paid attention earlier. My bad. Goodbye. I'll give Grandma a hug right now. All right. Grandma got the hug. So we're gonna continue watching the rest of this, and then I'm gonna take my break, and then when we get back, I will hopefully get down to the amendments today.
An idea that contradicts the Constitution. Critics also say that this is an attempt to deny Muslims and blacks, in particular, the right to German citizenship. Matthias Quent says the AfD has allied itself with groups that flirt with fascism and a right-wing revolution against parliamentary democracy. The most well-known is probably the so-called Institute for State Policy.
Surprisingly, this is actually one of the main differences I'm seeing from the AfD compared to the Nazis. Not everyone is aware of this, but the Nazis were not exactly specifically they didn't care what race you were. They only cared if you were Nazi. That's why they were cool with the Japanese joining them, and they had other members that weren't German. Whereas the AfD is very racist. They only want Germans, and that's their thing, which is why they're trying to do these things to make it so Muslims and people who are African can't get German citizenships. That's what their goals are. So their goals do differ from the Nazi Party from that, but it's more evil than the Nazi Party because they were down with people being different races. They just won a perfect German society, which is the whole reason why it could never happen. You can't have anything perfect anyways. But yeah, yeah, they had this like blue-eyed, blonde hair bullshit vision, and yeah, 1,000 years of bullshit. Yeah. Whereas the AfD just wants to be racist. So they don't care if you support their party if you're not German. So that is one way that they're different from the Nazis. They're more racist. So that's something.
Here we see the Institute's Gerd Kubitschek in a discussion with AfD politicians. The Domestic Intelligence Service has classified the Institute as right-wing extremist. The right-wing extremist institution and the AfD have a very close relationship. Current AfD co-leader Alice Weidel praised the institution as a training center for her party in 2019.
Und es ist ganz wichtig, Herr Lehnert hat es gerade angesprochen, dass wir unseren Nachwuchs fördern. Und der Nachwuchs sitzt eben hier und ich bedanke mich bei euch für Ihr Kommen. Vielen herzlichen Dank dafür.
The big question is, do those individual examples and pieces of the puzzle justify calling the AfD as a whole a neo-Nazi party?
Es ist wichtig, darauf hinzuweisen, dass es erstens Nazi-Ideologien in der AfD gibt und zweitens, dass sie als gesamte Partei eine Partei der extremen Rechten ist. Wir wissen aus Einstellungsstudien, die AfD hat einen großen Anteil, etwa die Hälfte der Wählerinnen haben ein mehr oder weniger geschlossen rechtsradikales Weltbild. Das muss man auch so benennen. Auf der anderen Seite gibt es auch Wählerinnen und Wähler, die sich davon abschrecken lassen.
Monday CRM has the best AI features in the game.
Especially in sales.
Hands down.
So for me, email composition.
This man has a very clear opinion of the question whether the AfD is a neo-Nazi party. His name is Niklas Frank. He has spent his life dealing with the legacy of National Socialism and the crimes of the Germans. He is the son of one of the Nazis' highest profile war criminals, Hans Frank. As Hitler's Governor General for occupied Poland, Hans Frank organized the mass murder of millions of Jewish people and other groups. He was condemned to death at Nürnberg and executed in 1946.
Ich verachte ihn sehr, aber ich weiß, dass alles, was er repräsentiert hat, ganz stark am Leben ist. Er hat 2 Stereotypisten gehabt als Generalgouverneur in Polen, im besetzten Polen, die hat er alles mitschreiben lassen, was er öffentlich geredet hat. Da können Sie das Ganze eigentlich umschichten, brauchen wir immer AfD hinzuschreiben. Da ist absolut deckungsgleiche Denke.
Niklas Frank warns that the rise of the AfD is a signal that the inhuman hatred of the National Socialist era is also on the rise again.
Das ist für mich eine tektonische Verschiebung. Die rassistisch-antisemitische Platte legt sich ganz langsam über die liberale und demokratische. Da kommen natürlich wie bei allen tektonischen Verschiebungen Erdbeben. Wie zum Beispiel in Nordhausen hat man jetzt nicht den AfDler gewählt. Das sind ganz kleine demokratische Vulkanchen, die nach und nach absterben werden.
So to recap, there is plenty of evidence showing connections between AfD politicians and the language or ideology of the Nazis. The AfD itself has confirmed many individual cases, but it vehemently rejects the accusation that the party systematically follows Nazi ideology and language. And in the past, it says, it has kicked out members who were found to have right-wing extremist connections. But right-wing extremism researchers like Matthias Quent don't think that's credible. That's why they warn that the AfD is a menace to society. They are sounding the alarm so that Germany's murderous history of National Socialism does not repeat itself. They say that society must take drastic action against racism, anti-Semitism and anti-democratic attitudes.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. That's why I don't like a lot of the anti-democratic stuff in general, because when you want to take away the power of the people to have their say on what they have their say on, they don't need to have their say on everything. We are not a democratic system here. We're a democratic republic. But we have some say, and we have a lot of liberties. We have rights as, citizens, which is a privilege given to us by the government, and all these things. So for me, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I kind of already wrote down the gist of their game, because it's pretty obvious just by watching what's been going down since 2010, apparently, since this party started, and seeing how it escalated in the past 15 years. They have a rhyme, reason, and trick, like every cult kind of does every single time. You can't just use the same rhyme, reason, and trick that worked in the past because people are wise to it. They're not going to fall for the same trick, but they will fall for a new one because humans often forget the lessons they just learned. So their rhyme now is take back Germany for the German people, which is a huge thing for German people. A lot of them in the general public are falling for this rhyme. The reason for that rhyme is fake Germans. We need to stop the fake Germans. We need to take back Germany for the German people. Rhyme for the reason. Rhyme for the reason. And here's the trick to justify it. Use victim mentality to generate mob mentality. Yeah. Yeah, they're the problem. Yeah, they're oppressing us even though they're not. We need to stop Muslim and African people from getting German citizenship. It should only be Germans who get German citizenship. Yeah, that's not racist at all. To ignore that. And why do they use the victim mentality? To generate a mob mentality. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. And that's the game of the AfD in 2025 right now as I see it. So that's the rhyme, that's the reason, that's their trick. How do you deal with this? Because now this is just understanding the basis of the situation for the AfD. So now you have to deliver a response in accordance to this. Otherwise, you're just being like, oh, I understand the situation, so I'm smart, so my homework's done. No, it's not. You got half of it done. We need to figure out the other half. If you don't have a response to the situation, then you're not responding to it. Duh. So let's try to figure out a general little response after the break. Because, yeah, I've been doing this for over an hour now. I'm going to check exactly what the deal is. I like to take a break every hour. Yeah, it's been an hour and a half. So I'm going to take a break. Because there's this right in America. It's called workers' rights. It's based on the concept of good work deserves good breaks. So I'm going to take a little break. Be back in like 10 to 15 minutes. And then we're going to take this. Oh, my bad. The paper fell up. This, the game of the AfD in 2025, their rhyme, reason, and trick. And we're going to create a response to it. Feel free to type in the chat whatever you think a good response would be. And you might be able to guess what I end up writing out. See you after the break.
So last night he used him. Honestly, nothing better than when a guy breaks this.
Shh. SF, nigga. Hey, yo, hold on. Look, my body growing dark. Lose your life quicker than the touch to hit the push a button start. Live beyond the stars above the chart. Hidden with the missing art. Missing crush, no different dart. Fuck my ex, I miss the broad. Young and slow, got misinvolved. I step and rapping with my dogs. With Smith and Wesson in my drawers. You think it's Tekken, thinking wrong. You see the scar, I'm living long. Uncle Tom enlisting fraud. You best believe this pistol drawn. LaMarcus Aldridge 50 bomb. That's on the 6, no lift to call. Look, my wisdom thicker than the wishing bone. I need a bitch to suck me slow while we sip Patron. On the road but missing home. Independent, live alone. Spin again, existence known. With my friends, no different bros. Same tools but different pros. Niggas broke with image. Clothes off my back to help a soul. Straight to those who lack a proper home. All set within the fish's bowl. Model shit, I live in vogue. Give and go, no pick and roll. Bitches wet, my rhythm cold. Tyson strong, just tickle toe. Look, fix the piece to make it fit. Salmonella's niggas chicken. Fuck a coupe, I slide big Benzes. Found the truth and spread the message. Tomahawk like Sean, I can't but keep it P. Not on no fashion. Shit gon' get you if you let it. Look, ain't no business if you text it. Break it down, but keep my sound collected. Suckers broke could buy the pound, but rather buy the peasant. Ain't no Santa sending presents. Don't ask me shit about no Edwin. Don't ask me shit when I wear pennants. Look, fool me once and the shame on do, cause shit get wicked in these trenches. Bitch gon' ride the dick like Schwinn and then go cook a nigga breakfast. Sit it down and teach your ethics. Game is game, no need to edit. If it's up, I know I'll bet it. Laying low, got hoes in Everett. Different show, just stole the segment. Working hard, ain't stole my leverage. Miss my bitch, this shit is tempting. Shooters locked with cases pending.
Derp. Bad production, man.
I can't sleep at night cause I still wonder why. It's SF, nigga. And I still wonder why. Head on a swivel, keep a pistol till it's time to die. Been on my mind and moving smart if you ain't stop at 5. My party job past the hot rock, I'm in addition 9. I'm counting green, call me JB. How the fuck you claiming that you gang, but I just changed things. They say she love me, but that's funny, shorty hate me. Try to put that knee up on my neck, so now they can't breathe. Fucking knock you tech, I'm bouncing out with balaclava ski. Red bone be out your again, cheese go pop it 12 for free. Brody bro be trying to beat that case so they don't drop the plea. Call me Terrence Crawford in that ring, I'm popping shots, please. This Scotty Lotto in my blood, I'm sparking 33. These niggas always liars, play with fire, catch that 3rd degree. My wife will ride with rifle, military, he won't bust again. I'm thugging in the valley, but Seattle always home me. My brother by my side until we die, no he gon' blow for me. Folded hands a couple times, but never fold the green. Star 67, block collar, bitch she knows me. Suckers tryna drop shots, one of those no hopscotch. Trey forward, Cinco 6, we on the block. Haters better than AMG, nigga. Quick to let the top drop. Fucking family, nigga. Bullets make them pop lock. Suckers on the net beefing, off the bitches hot spot. Steady on a mission, getting chicken like it's pop pot. Big hands from playing quarterback, that's Jared Goff talk. Shorty making movies, backseat, the road is Zaza. Tell Forrest run, pump kicks to outrun the gun. Mama's only son, I pray to God when it's all said and done. Lost straight to cancer, but we still be having one-on-ones. Nigga, fuck the world, this shit ain't right. I'm comfortable, I ride with 9. Niggas tryna take my life, you best believe I'm up in mine. Shoot it once and fucking twice. Thomas said I found the light. Call her Wimbledon, the way she fucked my bro, then circle line. And I still wonder why. And I still wonder why. Shuttlesworth and his niggas.
All right, so before I get into it, first thing I want to say is that Safeway chicken is not that bad. Look at this. I had some of my grandma's rice in it. That's pretty good. Cheap chicken. That's what grandma calls it, cheap chicken. But it ain't bad for cheap chicken. Let's see. Oh, I forgot my drink. But once I get back and I ate a little bit of my chicken and some rice, we're going to go into the response to the AfD's rhyme, reason, and trick. I feel like it. Whatever. Finger licking chicken is always good.
Five Reasons Connect. So if I do not find somebody soon.
All right. So this is their game and stuff. So we need a response to it that works. Now, I'm an American. So naturally my response is using my honesty to demand accountability for justice. But I don't know if that works in Germany. So I'm gonna see what works in Germany first. All right. Does justice work in Germany? Let's find out. The German legal system is characterized by a complex structure, balancing the distribution of powers between the federal government and the individual states. Its foundation rests on principles enshrined in the basic law, and its function is integral to the harmonious operation of both federal and state systems. Which is, hey, look at that. It's not too different than ours. Instead of like the Constitution, they got this thing called basic law. So it looks like modern day Germany isn't too far off from us in America. So I'm going to ask another question because I like to ask questions. Is Germany a democratic republic? Bam. All right. So Germany is a representative democratic republic. Interesting. So I'm going to compare that to the US real quick and just ask the same exact question. Bam. Tab Germany. I just copy that tab and I put USA. So, yes, it is. Ours is just a democratic republic, but I want to see if it's the same thing as theirs, a representative democratic republic, or if it's some other kind of democratic republic. All right. It is a democratic constitutional republic. So, Germany is a federal parliamentary representative democratic republic. So they have parliament instead of us who has a, a Senate and a House of Representatives as far as legislative. We have a president, in the executive branch, which is not just the president, but it's mostly the president, and the judicial branch. And those are the three main branches of power as far as the federal government. For Germany, its political system is based on the constitutional law known as the basic law, which is what it translates to English. Germany's constitutional law was approved on 1949, so after World War II. All right, so it's safe to say that justice also works there. So you can also use your honesty to demand greater accountability towards justice. So, what is the injustice? Because that's all we have to do is take this, take their rhyme, their reason, and their trick, and extract what injustices are coming out of here. Then we use our honesty to demand greater accountability to deliver justice towards these injustices. And that's it. Now we have a response to the AfD's game, which is their rhyme, their reason, and their trick. Their rhyme being, take back Germany for the German people. What's their reason for that? Fake Germans. That's who they want to take it back from. And then what's their trick to do that? Oh, use the victim mentality to generate a mob mentality. And this whole thing cycles in on itself. So, like, why do they use this trick for the rhyme? Why do they have the rhyme for the reason? Why the reason to use the trick? And you see how it cycles. It's a generating momentumous thing. It's to gain momentum. It's to use that momentum to gain power. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of generating it. It's to generate power. That's why it's in a cycle. That's why you got to understand whenever a cult wants to take over any country, they do it with a political party. And they use cycles like these: a rhyme, a reason, and a trick. And if you don't understand this, you will become naive to it. And then you won't be able to stop things when it's in the domain of prevention. And it's much better to deal with these things while it's still in the domain of prevention. And as far as I've checked for the AfD, they are still inside the domain of prevention. That means if we are prepared, we can deal with it. Now, we as in me, I'm an American citizen in America. But if it helps anyone in Germany help understand what to do about this, then all power to you. Because according to what I just Googled, you have a representative democratic republic. That means the power of your people has some power. You should use that, especially in your vote. So let's look at this. Let's figure out all the injustices that are coming out of each rhyme, reason, and trick. So we can use that to determine what justice needs to be delivered to solve that injustice. And that is what you should vote on. The justices that will solve those injustices. That is how you will stop this while it's in the domain of prevention. That is how you will respond accordingly to what the situation is. That is how responsible you can be. It doesn't guarantee you'll win. It guarantees that you're being as responsible as you can be given the situation. It gives you a fighting chance, and it's better than none. And that's better than nothing. Also, I think nothing is like a made up word. Like, it doesn't actually exist for real in reality. We just want to say it exists as a coping mechanism so we don't have to deal with the reality that nothing can exist in reality. Because, like, if you try to point at something and say it's nothing, I guarantee you're going to be pointing at air, and you need that to survive. Otherwise, stop breathing. I guarantee you, if you try to point that outside of the atmosphere and say space is nothing, you're lying, because we need that so the stars and planets aren't touching. There is no nothing. in reality. That's just a coping mechanism. It's an emotional response. It's mostly to sell stuff, especially the inverse of nothing. You know what the inverse of nothing is? Perfect. People use the word perfect to sell stuff because it's emotionally gratifying. It's not real. We're going to deal with something that's real. The concept of deal with it is very real. So we're going to deal with the AfD. So what's the injustice coming out of the rhyme of take back Germany for the German people? What's the injustice in that? They're going to try and hurt and take other people down to take back Germany. Because that's the whole problem with it. They're willing to use violence to solve a problem. Willing to solve issue with violence. That's the injustice. So this is essentially the injustice of it, of that rhyme. They're willing to resolve the issue with violence, which this thing is making it hard to read that because yeah, it's making it hard. Hold on, let me turn down the brightness of my screen. I think it's reflecting off of the paper. Let me just try doing that. Oh, I control that instead of that. Okay, that's fine. All I did was reload the page. Boop. There we go. Now is this easier to read? Let's see. Yep, looks a lot easier to read to me. So yeah, willing to resolve issue with violence. That is the injustice out of that rhyme. So that is what needs to be solved. So next thing, is there a reason? Fake Germans. What's the injustice of that? And that's pretty simple. Racism. How? They don't want African Germans. They don't want Muslim Germans. They specifically said that and called them fake Germans because they're not German in race. There we go. This is the second injustice that comes out of their reason. So, last, their trick of using victim mentalities to generate mob mentalities. Oh, if they haven't done that yet, then we have to go give them a new pin because the pin expired. Yeah, if that didn't happen yet already, we have to go to the Xfinity store itself. Moving on. So, here's the injustice from that trick. Let me see if that is good enough. All right. There we go. Almost. Maybe that. Maybe right there. Is that good? There we go. That's good. Okay. Mass manipulation for political power for immunity from the law. That's the point of that trick. And that's an injustice because there's not supposed to be anyone above the law, even in Germany, because they are a representative democratic republic. And in that, no one's supposed to be at the law either. And with that, now we can generate a response for justice in accordance to these injustices. But first, I'm going to eat some rice and some chicken. What was just happening? Yeah. Side note on a lot of things. Xfinity doesn't want you to leave, so they make it difficult on purpose. They'll give you a transfer pin, but only one that lasts 4 hours. So that way, if you have to negotiate with other people and it takes more than 4 hours, you have to come back and do it enough times, and they're hoping that it'll be too tedious and you'll just give up. It's their way of keeping you in without, doing it quote unquote illegally. So that way they can liably say that, like, oh, we gave you an opportunity to get out. You just didn't do it in the time frame. So for security purposes, we have to reset it every 4 hours. And that's why our security pin already expired. So we'd have to go back to another Xfinity store if it's still open, get another one, because we can't use the online one because my grandma didn't set up an online account, so we can't use that to just get one that way. That I feel is almost an injustice, but it's just more of manipulative business tactics. It's harder to demand justice for that because they specifically design it for where they can escape liability even if you call it out. It is what it is. Total bullshit, but they can legally get away with it. So according to the law, it's fair play. It is what it is. So now we just need one more section. Justice that counters these injustices. And then we need one more section. Response. The response determines whether or not that justice gets there. Without that response, there's no justice being delivered to the injustices, which means there's nothing to combat in it, which means you're not fighting it. So, according to the concept of dealing with it, in the diameter, it says taking action. Without taking action, you aren't dealing with it. So we have to get to what justice needs to be delivered to these injustices, and then the response that will actually deliver it. Otherwise, you're not even combating it. You're going to let it go. And if you let it slide, it's a slippery slope. So, what justice will counter the injustice of willing to resolve issues with violence? Willing to resolve issues with the law. That is the civil way to resolve issues without violence, using the law. That's the way to counter it. So for the German people that are against the ADF, they have to be willing to counter their violence with the law. They have to not resort to responding it with violence because that will only fuel their rhyme, reason, and trick, which is what they're using to generate power. So don't empower the thing that they're using to generate power. That's the first thing you have to do. The next injustice, racism, no African Germans, no Muslim Germans. Well, I'd imagine that this constitution they got called Basic Law legally states that you are allowed to be a German citizen without having to be the race of German. So, to combat that injustice, use the justice of basic law. And last, their trick. The injustice that victim mentality to generate a mob mentality creates is the mass manipulation for political power for immunity from the law. So, hold the people that think they are above the law accountable by the law. So, what is the response that's going to deliver these justices? Well, you need people that are going to represent the civil justice of these. You need people that are going to prosecute these people that need to be held accountable. And you need people that are willing to confront the ignorant and win. So you need 3 different types of people responding accordingly to defeat their rhyme, their reason, and their trick. The hardest is going to be the mob mentality one, because it's literally confronting a mob. Most people aren't built to do that. Some are. You need to find a rare sort that will confront a mob and deal with it in a civil manner that doesn't promote violence and brings them more to a realistic, logical understanding. That means they have to completely understand where they're coming from, what emotions are driving them to do that, and how to deconstruct that and rebuild it into something of better purpose and reasoning. That is not easy. Most people aren't built to do this kind of stuff. but there are rare sorts that can do it. You have to find those leaders in your community. And they have to be willing to do what is necessary, which is stay civil, because they will do everything that they can and all the tricks in their book to promote a violent situation. Why? They thrive on a victim mentality. So the moment you give them 1 inch of fighting them physically, they will take that a mile to generate a mob mentality to fight back. You need like an expert in nonviolence, a real expert negotiator. That's who you need dealing with the mob. As far as the people in the mob mentality yelling, "We must march, we must march." Those people need someone to talk to. And it has to be the right person. As far as their reason of fake Germans, you need proof, not just testimony. General statistical proof that not only people of German descent, as far as ethnicity, are the people that contribute to the country and the well-being of the country. And you need politicians that can represent that interest and call out the ADF's nonsense in a civil way that doesn't use insults to prove their debate is logical. Because everyone wants to feel smart. This is an innate thing in humanity. We all want to feel smart. Even if we aren't smart, we want to feel that we're smart. So we need someone that can deliver onto that feeling, but deliver logic, reasoning, and statistics to prove it. We need someone that really gives off that we are the bigger man mentality. And we stand on more solid ground. Last is the rhyme. We need someone that is an effective lawyer. A very effective lawyer. Willing to resolve the issues with the law against these people who are willing to resort it with violence and prosecute all violent offenders. This is the response that's necessary to deal with the game of the ADF, whose rhyme, reason, and trick is as follows. Take back Germany for the German people. That's the rhyme. What's the reason? Fake Germans is their reason behind it. What's their trick to do it? Use the victim mentality to generate a mob mentality. And this works all in a cycle on itself. This cycle is to generate power for the party. So you have to defeat that game with a more civil, more indisputable, undeniable, factual movement. You need something more powerful to defeat something powerful. Something that uses the law, not violence, to solve problems. Because guess what really has more power? Not violence, the law. Proven by the fact that violence gets arrested by the law. And the last time I just checked, which is, like 30 something minutes ago before I wrote this out, Germany is a representative democratic republic. So they should use that. If they want to stop this AfD movement that others are calling the new neo-Nazi party. Because as it states in the concept of deal with it, right in the diameter, the thing that tells you exactly the entire point of a concept, it says taking action. And if you do not take action, you will let it slide. It is a slippery slope. And that is exactly how we can end up in a place we do not want to end up. Because there's a lot of issues that end up being the world's issues when Prussia or Germany doesn't resolve it in their own country. And we don't need to see it a third time. So I implore all the German citizens that are against the AfD, deal with it, please. Thank you.